Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo, and welcome to my scrapbook table where I'm sharing my July project for the Beautiful Blossoms Challenge blog, where the goal is to make flowers the focus of our project. So I use lots of florals in this project to showcase these two photos of my sweet Anna and me. I'm using this as inspiration. The page is by CJ Johnson on Facebook, and I will talk more about that in just a moment. Here's my pictures. These papers I picked up at a scrapbook store in Southern Ohio. They're simple stories, but I don't know the name of the collection. I can't see it on the screen right now, and I don't have the extra pages in front of me. I'm mainly using the two that you see here along with that green. So instead of stars along the left-hand side in those squares, I'm going to have florals in those squares. So the first thing I do is trace a plate to create a circle, cut it out with scissors, and I'm fine with the fact that the edges won't be perfectly round because I'm going to use this edge distressing tool from MK's store called Some Assemblage Required. So it doesn't matter that the edges are not perfect because they're scuffed up anyway. And usually I have this part done before I record my video, but I thought I would just share how I create a framed page. I take 1/2 inch off of 2 perpendicular sides, sometimes a little more, sometimes less. Then I use this kind of trimmer that I can put the blade where I want it and just cut out the middle of a sheet of paper. That's the only thing I use this trimmer for. And I keep it in a drawer just for that purpose because I use it a lot. I put some double-sided tape along the 4 sides, and the width of those green edges is about 1¼ inches. So then I pull off the backing, but just part of it on 3 sides. Then I pull it off of the whole thing on one side and I get my paper where I want it. Then I take the strips off and adhere the page down. For me, that's the easiest way to get the paper down, to get it straight. And I first saw that on a YouTube channel called Life in Layouts, which I will link in the description box below. So I'm going to use this sticker sheet from, it's either Echo Park or Cartabella, I'm not sure. And that's what's going to go in the 5 squares. So I glued down the circle, but because there's text on it, I could tell it was crooked. So I pulled out my cheap T-square ruler from Amazon, which I like every bit as much as I did my more expensive one that I've lost half of. So that's okay, worked out fine. So I'm going to alternate those. The squares are stuck down now, green and white alternating. And I was going to back the photos just with white, but I didn't like that. So I got rid of the white and I went through my color drawers from my scrap paper and pulled out a few scraps to layer them on. And I just put them on there crookedly. Then I grabbed that the cut apart sheet from the Simple Stories collection, and I cut out that sunshine, which I was going to use for a title. It ends up not making it on the page. I used something else. But I'm cutting out these 3 little rectangles. One says be bright, one says be happy, and one says be you. And I wanted lots of small things because I'm going to turn each of these 5 little squares into kind of its own little, I don't want to say layout because it's not really a layout, but it's its own little entity. And so I want lots of small things besides the stickers that I'm going to include on those pages. So some have these 3 little rectangular signs, I guess. Some have a little tiny banner on them. I used some small floral die cuts that I have in my stash, as well as enamel dots and even some little tiny hexagons from a Felicity Jane collection. So I should be just about done trimming those out. There we go. And I start thinking about where to put them because I wasn't sure what I was going to do at the moment. And let's see. Now I start bringing in the stickers. So these stickers have quite a large, for me, white border. And the ones that were on the white squares, that didn't bother me so much. But the ones that were on the dark green squares, I didn't like that white border. It was just too big for me. And it ended up, if I'd realized how much time I was going to spend on it when I started, I probably would have left the white borders alone. But anyway, I sat and watched something and trimmed out a lot of these stickers. And then I decided I want this camera too. I like the color, and it was the right size for where I felt like I needed something. So I go ahead and trim that out. I leave a little bit of the yellow border on because I have yellow in other places on this layout. Again, my tablet in the upper left-hand corner was in view. I didn't realize it, and it was distracting, so I just put a white shape there to block that out. I filmed this over, I don't know, I think it was 3 different times that I worked on this layout and finished it. So it just, my tablet got moved too close during this last session. So now I'm thinking, what else am I going to do? So I had grabbed these Felicity Jane hexagons. They're kind of like enamel dots. They're raised up. I like the soft colors. Even though there's bright colors in this paper, there's also that soft blue. And I really liked that. So I added those. You'll see in a moment that I'm going to add enamel dots as well. Some of them I got down easily, some I had to grab my tweezers. I just was having trouble getting them where I wanted them. It's unusual for me to do a page with no journaling, but this one does not have any journaling on it. I may add some journaling later. I'm not sure. I'm still mulling that over. But this layout will be in the midst of other layouts from this same visit, so it will be clear where I was, who's with me, and when these were taken. So I don't feel the need to add that. So I should be just about done adding these little hexagons. I have had this sheet of hexagons for ages, and I've used them on several layouts, but they just seem to not be going away. Maybe I need to leave them out on my table and use them a little more. There were these hearts in there too, but they were just the shade of pink just did not work. So I tucked those back away. And you can see that I've decided on my title. It's Loved Beyond Words. That is a banner sticker from a sticker sheet by Chamel. And then I pulled out these tiny little flowers and leaves. They're just in a little bag where I keep extra things from what I've die cut. And I pulled some that the colors worked and just filled in some gaps that I felt needed a little something in those 5 little squares. And finally, I decided I needed something up in the upper right hand corner. It just looked kind of bare up there. So I took one of the large floral sprays from the sticker sheet and cut it. I have a little more than half of it on this page. And of course, I'm trimming off the white edges. Which takes a few minutes, but that's all right. And I ended up putting that, and I tucked a couple other stickers there and an enamel dot. And I really like how that filled in that empty space that was bothering me in the top right-hand corner of this layout. And you should see that in just a moment. In the description box below, I will have a link to the blog as long as I can make the link work. Sometimes that link does not want to work. I'll have a link to MK's store where you can get that edge distressor, which is the best edge distressor ever. I love it. I'm so glad I got one. And I will also link the Life in Layouts channel so that you can see where I first saw the idea for adding that border around the edge and not wasting the paper that was behind it. Well, actually, that's not right. I first saw that idea from Dorothy Guinan of Scrapbook in Quebec. But the idea for using the double-sided tape that way is what I got from Life in Layouts. Sorry for the confusion. So now I have filled in that gap at the top. Here is what it looks like. I've added some little butterflies, and I'm really happy with this. The only thing I would do differently is I maybe would have added some black somewhere, maybe Nuvo drops or something like that, which I could still do if I wanted to. Here are the still shots. Thanks again for joining me today, and I hope you get to Scrapbook soon. Have a great day. Bye.